Hey, welcome back. In the last couple of videos, I showed you how to get started with EarSketch. In the last one, I showed you how to start coding with an EarSketch. Now what I'm going to do is take it one notch up and show you how to use the effects. Now, I want to kind of show you the curriculum off to the side here. I have to admit, I have not memorized every single effect in terms of like the coding sequence, and something tells me that, you may not necessarily know all the coding sequences as well. What's cool is that if you were to click on the reference, which is in the curriculum guide that they have off to the side, remember again, guys, that if it's not there, like I'm kind of showing you here, remember if you click on the textbook off to the left, it will appear. And then if you go ahead and click on reference, it's right now in chapter 29. We actually need to go to chapter 30. So go ahead and click that right arrow. And this is where it actually kind of shows you the different effects that you could use. So I'm going to kind of bring this over just so I can kind of talk about it just a little bit. All right. So when we're actually adding the effect, remember again, guys, that you're adding it to the entire track. So I'll kind of explain and walk you through like how to do it. But, there's probably a series of, let's say, like 10 to 15 different effects that you guys can choose from. On each and every effect that EarSketch offers, it gives you kind of like a sample. So if you want to hear maybe like what the bandpass actually sounds like, you can click the play button. And it also offers different options in terms of what type of effect you would like within that particular option. So for instance, let's go to an easier one. Let's skip the bandpass. Let's use one. I think the next one's chorus. Again, guys, I kind of gives you like that heavenly sound. What's cool is that it actually gives you a description of what each effect does. So that's really kind of nice. So if you're looking for a particular sound, if you're trying to model it after like your favorite artist, you can see exactly how this will affect your overall experience. Now, I mentioned before, guys, that within each effect, it's broken down into different options for you. You see here that there's course length, there's course num voices, and I want to say there's one or two more for that. There's course rate, mix right below there, and then course mod. You'll see that it gives a little description of exactly what that particular option does for you. The default value is when you put it into your code editor window in EarSketch. That's what it's automatically set to. If you want it to have a real low effect, the minimum amount that you have to put in is a 1. However, if you want it to be overkill, over the top, what's the absolute max that I could possibly have for a chorus effect? It would be 250 for this particular one. If you go down to the num voices, you see that the range goes from 1 to 8. Do make sure, guys, that when you're getting ready to use the different effects, make sure that you look at these different values, because this is going to be really important, especially when we're coding it. So let's assume that we want to go ahead and use a chorus effect, which we see here, and we're going to go ahead and use course length. I'm going to go ahead and kind of move my screen over a little bit so that you can see my editor window a little bit better. Let's just pretend that we wanted it to take over the dubstep. So let's go to a new line of code. Remember, I told you guys, go ahead and kind of create some empty lines of code underneath each instrument so that later on we can come back and then add the effects. Well, here we are. So here's how we do it. First and foremost, guys, kind of similar to the fit media, we need to go ahead and type in 2 words, set effect. Make sure it's with a capital E. Sorry about that. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and put a parentheses. And now what we need to do is we need to type in which track we want this to take place on. So it's a little bit different than the media that we placed above. Now we're actually starting off with a number. So we want this to be the dubstep. Remember, guys, that we identified it as being track 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put a number 1 there because that's where the effect is going to take place. After identifying the track, it's going to ask us, okay, so which effect do you want? Well, we said that we want the chorus, so we're going to go ahead and type the word chorus. Do make sure that you type it in the way that you see it, because it is case sensitive. So if it is capitalized, make sure that you capitalize it as well. After the effect that you choose, it's going to ask you, okay, so what option do you want? Well, I'm going to go ahead and choose chorus length. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in, chorus, if I could spell, chorus underscore length. All right. So the last one is the computer is going to ask you, okay, so how much of an effect do you want this, this item to have? So do you want it to be minimal? Do you want it to be a lot? So let's go back to our curriculum book. And you see here, guys, that the minimum amount that we could use is a 1, which is pretty much nothing. However, we can go crazy and then have 250. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and put 250 just so you can kind of see how drastic that particular effect can be. Now, once you're done typing in your value, remember again, guys, that in order for the line of code to take effect, you have to click Run. When you're adding the different effects, you guys will actually see that there's going to be just underneath that track, the effect itself. Right here it says Effect 1, and then it tells you what it is. Just to give you a heads up that the word bypass, what that is that actually mutes the effect that you have in place. So if I was listening to this track and I wanted to hear what it sounds like with and without the effect, this is what you would press. So I'm going to go ahead and take it to the beginning and kind of show you what that is. So I'm going to click play, listen to the effect for a little bit, then I'm going to take it away. And I want you to see if you can hear the difference. So, guys, that's actually how you add in the different effects. Recall again, guys, that you really have different options. You can actually choose to have multiple effects on the same instrument. So for like my dubstep, if I wanted to maybe go over and let's see here, let's do a pitch shift. That's a popular one. The pitch shift, just to kind of give you a heads up, guys, is basically changes the actual pitch of the instrument. So if you have vocals and you want to sound like Mickey Mouse or some high pitched character, you can actually change the pitch of the your voice or the actual sound itself to make it higher or lower. Let me just kind of show you that one real quick. Here we go. So here's the pitch shift. So let's just pretend, and I tell you what, we'll just go ahead and keep using the dubstep. Remember again, guys, that if you want to set an effect, we have to type that in to let the computer know what we're doing. Put in the parentheses. Remember again, guys, that we're still wanted to affect track 1, so we need to put a 1 there. And recall again that the next step is, okay, so what effect do you want? It's the pitch shift. And of course, we're going to do the, the option, which is the pitch shift shift. Do a comma. Now, with it, obviously you have where it could be the -12 or 12. The negatives would be like really, really low. And then the positives would be high. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of make this super low. So let's go ahead and just make this like a -12 just to play. And I'm going to go ahead and run that. And then I'm going to play it for you so that you can actually hear it. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the beginning and press play. So there you kind of hear the effect taking place where it's super, super low. Now, let's just say that, you know what, I really don't like that particular effect. I want to kind of tweak it or make some changes. Remember, guys, that you can actually go down into your lines of code and then make those changes. So let's say that instead of it being super low, I want it to be really, really high as the maximum amount. I went ahead and changed that. Let's go ahead and click the run. And I'm going to click play so you guys can hear what that sounds like. So there it is, super high. Guys, that's actually how you do an effect. I wish you the best of luck.